evening, race fans, and welcome in to the legendary Watkins Glen International Road Course. It's live iRacing here on VirtualRacing.Network, and it's so great to be with you again tonight for the second time this week from Watkins Glen. It doesn't get any better in terms of road courses out there. This track, of course, has seen Formula One, IMSA, NASCAR, IndyCar, you name it. Any of the big series have been here and is legendary in terms of those who have won here. Who will win tonight is the question as the NORA Cup Series 2023 visits this track just before the end of the regular season. Getting set, of course, for the 2023 playoffs, which are coming up soon. I'm Trevor Greenfield. Great to be with you, as always, here on VirtualRacing.Network. This is race number 27. We're going to be doing 12 laps in the first stage, 24 in the second, 54 overall, and, of course, no stage cautions here at the road course. Manually thrown cautions if there's two or more cars caught up in that same caution. So we'll see how it works out tonight. Cars on track right now, just finishing up their practice session. So why don't we go ahead and jump over and take a look here at the current points as they line up. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, very soon that will be lit up for you. Be able to see the driver points. There we go. Always takes a second. Ronnie Norman, the big news here, taking over the top of the regular season standings after 26 races by several points. And the real reason is because Vincent Arthur, who had been dominating these standings, taking victory the week before at Michigan, last week at Indianapolis, not able to participate due to connection issues and having some weather in his area, not able to actually make the race. So as a result, not even able to qualify, and Ryan Bird goes on to sweep the weekend, taking both pole position and the race win, and basically Ronnie Norman taking over the regular season championship lead at the moment. Brady Motes hanging on there in third, and all of these drivers in yellow, of course, are guaranteed to make the playoffs, but some interesting things going on a little bit further back. How about Tom Senchek climbing up with last week's top finish and able to get up into the playoffs for the end of the season? He was a late arrival, getting in only 8 starts so far this season, and so some of these other drivers are going to have some work cut out for them either here tonight or over tomorrow, or next week, excuse me, at Daytona. So either way, something to keep an eye on, and take a look also over at the owner points as they shake up after 26 races. No changes through the top 4 positions, but you see flat lines number 8 exchanging with the 25. That just due to, once again, Vincent Arthur not being able to make the race. Harper Motorsports, though, getting up into the top 8 with their number 22 machine, and some more moving and shaking a little bit further back there. So still keeping an eye on that owner's battle, and of course those playoffs coming up here very shortly. So with that, let's take a look at the NORA Cup Series as they head down onto the track. How about we take a look here as they are in open qualifying here. They have 10 minutes to do so, get in their 2 fastest laps. Nick Geilis racing for Nightmare Motorsports, and of course big part of not just Nightmare but the NORA Cup Series. Well, Nick is celebrating his birthday here today. I'm not at liberty to say exactly how old he is because he doesn't put it in his info, but it's a great year to be alive for Nick, and it's been a great season for him, already taking victory once this season at Daytona, and going to be able to potentially do that again coming up this next week. This week he's got to qualify well here at Watkins Glen. Of course, those of you who were with us on Sunday night for the Icon Cup Series, you heard Nick and his commentary here on VirtualRacing.Network. Unfortunately tonight, Christian Snyder under the weather, not able to make it here and be able to be co-commentary with me. So as a result, it will be Trevor Greenfield all night. And we hope you do enjoy the many ramblings of Trevor Greenfield on VirtualRacing.Network. So far, Jared Wishen, who's racing for owners points atop the leaderboard. Wishen, of course, coming in much earlier in the season and taking victory here in the Cup Series. And so something to watch out for as he puts down a top time. And momentarily, Jacob Malone had put down a top time as well, but just as fast as he did it, Wishen that time across the track, 111.51, so puts Jacob Malone a little bit further down there. Here's Vincent Arthur, no connection issues this week, fortunately. He will be in the field, so currently in 4th place. And how about this guy? He won on Sunday night in the Icon Cup Series. He put in a little chat message earlier today, or I guess yesterday, saying, you know, I'd like to run over in that NORA series. Well, I tried to hook him up with the open ride that I knew was possible, and he doesn't run the Chevy, so I know that wasn't going to be possible, but he did manage to find a Ford ride over at Brian Powell Motorsports. And now take a look at who's at the top of the board with a 111.27. That's right, Brian Smith. And how about this guy now? Ronnie Norman, Stormin' Norman, top of the championship order, and now putting it into the top 3 here in qualifying at the moment, into 3rd place. So great starting for him, and right now it's all going kind of well for Ronnie Norman in the sim seat. Stephen Dombrowski, how you doing today over in our YouTube chat room? Well, I'm doing just fantastic. It's not raining hard. It's 98 degrees with a high humidity, so it feels about 110 degrees where we're at here at our studios in Florida. But I hope you're doing wonderful over there, Stephen, enjoying your summer wherever you're at and rooting on Ronnie Norman. And we'll see how he can do tonight. Take a look back through the field. How about Cody Hyde on YouTube? He's already taken victory this season at Mid-Ohio. Could he do it here tonight at Watkins Glen? Anything is possible for the driver of the 22 for Harper Motorsports. Seems like he has a magic horseshoe somewhere hidden away. We'll see whether or not he can pull that out tonight. Matthew George is looking to finish up the season strong, currently in 8th place in qualifying. And Martin Plute, he qualified very well last week in Indianapolis. Unfortunately, not able to finish it up so well, so we're going to see if he can manage to get that consistency here this week. But Plute so far showing 9th fastest. We'll see whether he can improve. And here's kind of the most popular driver of the season so far, I'd have to say, as far as our YouTube chat room goes. Jake Christenberry sitting in at 11th right now on the leaderboard. But Christenberry doing some really good stuff behind the wheel, and in fact, 4th in the overall championship right now for the regular season based off of points. So really, he's done a spectacular job of getting himself into the playoffs and consistently finishing in the top of the order. Not taking any wins so far this season, but consistently getting top 10s, and that's what it'll do for you. It'll get you into the playoffs. So very fortunate there. Brian Smith continues to set fast laps, 111.20 with just over 2.5 minutes remaining here in qualifying. Jared Wishen in 2nd place. Ronnie Norman still holding down 3rd. Take a look a little bit further back. Here's Brandon Dunford for Nightmare Motorsports. The Venom Machine out there again. It looked beautiful at Indianapolis, and he's seems like changing it up just about every week, and always a flashy paint job from fellow Floridian, and honestly not that far away from here, over in Milton, Florida, just outside of Pensacola. As we take a look down through the order, it's Justin Moody, the Prestige TRD. He's having a good season. Just trying to get in a great qualifying effort, finish up his season solidly. Take a look a little bit further back. Here's Jacob Gladelich, now racing for the JRC Sim team. And so far shown about halfway up the order in 15th. Josh Conover checking in, saying no racing tonight, Trevor. Still working, but I'll have my ears on, try to watch as I finish up. Well, we appreciate that as always, Josh, but I know you got some practice laps in during Icon, and somehow managed to get a top 5 out of that deal. It was pretty spectacular. Was kind of looking forward to seeing you out there tonight. I'm sure you were too. But either way, great to have you watching along, and I know the real important time is coming up, which is going to be the NORA Cup Series playoffs. We'll look forward to that as well. There you see the 12 of Tim Harper in the background. He's currently sitting at 14th in the running order here. He pulls over to the side, just almost tags Nick Geilis, who goes flashing by there on the front straightaway and manages to avoid contact. But Harper so far only qualified 14th. Harper not usually one of the top qualifiers necessarily on a road course, but here's a guy who's, well, actually Plute now as he's sitting against the guardrail, not so much, but Brady Motes just about to come across the start-finish stripe here for his final lap as the time ticks down. We're just about to the end of qualifying, and he does. He manages to improve slightly, so great way for Motes to finish up qualifying. Goes from 7th to 6th fastest. We'll watch to see if anybody else is going to be able to get in a final lap here. Taking a look down through the field, see if there's anybody else who's finishing up their laps. Here's Cameron Thompson for Harper Motorsports. He's just about to come across the line for his final lap here. To see if he can manage to improve on this one. Across the line he goes, and he does not improve. It's a much slower lap on that one. We do still have Ryan Norman just... Oh, and someone decides to make it quite a show in the background. Looks like Brady Motes just coming across here as he kind of slides on those tires. Is he going to be able to improve from 6th? We watch here. He was fastest sector 2, fastest personal sector 2, 11:75. So he does actually improve. That's 2 laps in a row there at the end that Brady manages to improve his time. This time not quite good enough to get another position. He only needed 4/100ths of a second to jump up into that 5th position. So with that, we're getting qualifying wrapped up here in just a moment, and then we will be able to bring you the official grid here for round number 27 at Watkins Glen for the NORA Cup Series 2023. It's a good time to tell you, if you're watching along and you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the NORA Cup playoffs that are coming up, and of course, Truck Series already in the playoffs, and that's exciting stuff as well. It goes on Monday nights right here at VirtualRacing.Network. But of course, the Icon Cup Series also going to be entering playoffs time here really soon as well, with a bunch of great races to come. So with that, let's go ahead and we're going to have the short lap here for the grid lap, or for the pace lap. So let's get to it. On your pole position tonight, it's going to be Brian Smith. Congratulations to him. Debut in the series, taking the pole position. Ryan Bird also not able to make it tonight. He, of course, swept last weekend. He's really looking forward to making it tonight. Jared Wishin will be starting alongside Brian. On the second row will be Ronnie Norman and Vincent Arthur. On the third row, Jacob Malone alongside of Brady Motes. Martin Plute going to be starting next to Brandon Dunford. Cody Height and Matthew George, and then Jake Christenberry and Justin Moody. That is going to be your top 12. We jump back another row. We catch Nick Geilis and Timmy Harper, Jacob Gladelich and Chad Engel. 17th is going to be Anthony Mackey and Adam Kulikowski alongside Cameron Thompson and Stephen Henning. Returning to the seat for Full Send Motorsports, Josh Curry and Jovi Ray. Jovi Ray back in the seat, even though he did not get in a qualifying time. He is one to watch for sure. He can shake it up on a road course. Watch for that number 55 machine. And then we've got Tom Senchek and Kyle Rochelle. Going to be starting 23rd and 24th. And bringing up the back of the grid will be Chris Heights and Ryan Patty. And finally, Dakota Hendrickson will take the last starting spot tonight. So with that, these drivers just about to get underway. Once again, welcome here on VirtualRacing.Network as we get set for a wonderful evening of racing here at the legendary Watkins Glen International Circuit. Brian Smith going to lead from pole position for Brian Powell Motorsports. This is when it gets exciting out here for sure. Step on board here with Brian Smith as he gets ready to go. The revs come up. And the green flag is out and we are underway. Smith takes over the lead with no problem whatsoever. There we look side by side with Vincent Arthur and Jared Wishin. As a little bit further back, it's Malone and Norman who are going side by side. There's Malone down the inside. Norman side by side with him, and a lot of cars moving for position. Jake Christenberry side by side with Brady Moats as they go up through the S's. Taking a look here on the backstretch, it is Brian Smith all alone, out in front by about 8 car lengths over Vincent Arthur, who's already trying to catch him up, and here comes Jared Wishin as well. Wishin dropping a position, Arthur now up 2 spots already. Martin Plute getting involved in an incident a little bit further back, and Christenberry involved as well. There's Nick Geilis getting involved. Several drivers caught up in this one. And the yellow flag will come out here. So that is unfortunate, as we already have our first yellow flag, and that is going to reset the order. I see that Cody Height had an off track. Let's go ahead and step back and see if we can tell. Now, the first things first, we had an off track here. This was, I believe this was before the green flag, so let's jump to after the green flag. And we have this note that Martin Plute has an off track. So does this cause him to come around? I don't think so. There he heads into the bus stop, and he just gets loose-headed into the bus stop, manages to stack everybody up, and then 3 cars come together there on the left side of the screen. Let's see if we can catch up with that. I see that Cody Height had an off-track there. Height taking evasive action. And choosing to go through the middle of that, despite our graphics showing the wrong name there. So Plute, though, taking 1 driver with him. And then if we take a look here at what Nick Geilis saw running through this mess. Geilis on the outside breaks later than the driver on the outside of that, and then manages to plow into his teammate Brandon Dunford and straight into Jake Christenberry. Let's take a look here at what Christenberry saw. That's Martin Plute up in front. And he's going to get loose coming through the bus stop on entry. Just cold tires there, and Christenberry takes a beating and banging coming through the corner. So Geilis, last one to touch him there as he tries to get himself straightened out. Christenberry back underway, though. Gotta say that delivery is going to be a little late. So, taking a look back up in front, it's going to be Brian Smith who will lead us back to the green. Looks like, I'm not sure if we're going to go green next time by, but there is a reason why we do not do these cautions on these road courses. They take a very long time sometimes. Looks like we're going to have another caution lap here following this one. So this is our first caution here for the NORA Cup Series at Watkins Glen International. I'm going to take just a moment, and we'll be right back here after this. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss any of the green flag racing yet to come. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Pleasure to have so many of you joining us here tonight. We're just about to get going back to green again here very shortly, but once again, make sure to say hello over in the YouTube chat room. Always love knowing where you're watching from, who you're rooting on in this deal, and if you just want to see the crashes, that's cool too. You can let us know that. Not very often you see a Porsche pace car for NASCAR. Sign me up to drive that one, Steven Dabrowski says. I agree. I'd love that role as well. I'm sure you can inquire with Josh, and you can just sit there and take over the pace car responsibilities. Josh says, normally I do the truck, see what happens when I miss. Yes, indeed, Josh. Having to get some fill-in work done for the NORA admin this week, but it's great to have everybody with us here as we're just about to see some great green flag action. I'm sure Brian Smith and Vincent Arthur. Vincent has already climbed 2 positions here tonight, and I think he's got the bit between his teeth. You know, he unfortunately lost the points lead in the regular season championship here in the NORA Cup Series just due to something that's out of his control. This last week in Indianapolis, he couldn't make it because of storms in his area and no internet. And, you know, as a result, he couldn't even race at one of his favorite tracks, a place where he felt like, you know, he could have had something for Ryan Bird. So now this newcomer, Brian Smith, comes in, and I don't think Vincent's going to be so quick to let a newcomer come in and steal the show. We'll have to see whether or not that's the case as Brian Smith gears it up, and we're about ready to get going here once again at Watkins Glen International. We are green once again, and the drivers head into turn number 1. Brian Smith in a clear lead, as it looks like everybody's been able to make it through there successfully so far, and no reported problems thus far coming through turn number 1. You see side by side there, looks like the 26 of Senchek and Matthew George side by side. Up front though, Brian Smith in the lead. No problem for him. Vincent Arthur not quite close enough, and we look a little bit further back. That was Brady Moats, I think, trying to take a look down the inside of Jacob Malone, who is sitting just in front. Ronnie Norman trying to hang on here in 4th place. He's got Jacob Malone closing in ever so much, and there you see, look like Brady Moats going out quite wide through the corner, and that may have incurred an incident for an off track there. But Norman trying to hang on in that number 33. He's able to do so. Looks like Brady Moats trying to give it his all to get up there and try and make that pass. Brian Smith out in front, no problems right now as he makes his way through turn 1, heads up through these legendary S's. We look back at Vincent Arthur, who's now slipped back to about 0.6 of a second back. And with that, fastest sector 1 and 2 times falling to Brian Smith. So in this early battle, that's the case. Now, we did get some great notes ahead of time from Brady Moats, and he was letting us know that it does look like you can get about 19 to 20 laps on a tank, but we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers come in a little early because of that first stage being over, and of course a lot of people trying to get that first stage and get all of the points that go with it. There's Brady Moats. He's managed to get that position away from Jacob Malone, and see if we can back through the notes. I don't quite have that note, unfortunately. I wanted to go back and catch that. Megan Beadle checking in. Kristen Berry fan club here, hoping for a little better luck for the remainder of this race. Indeed, that's not the way you want to see your favorite driver start things out. There you can see the notes on the right-hand side for the weather here tonight. 76 degrees in the air. Very, I mean, it'd be nice to be there in real life. Just sitting out like all these folks are out at their tents and up in the stands. Beautiful weather. 77% humidity, a little on the humid side. 10 miles per hour is the breeze, and only 97 on the track, so not going to be that difficult. Oh, do we have Tim Harper having a problem? There's Harper sitting sideways. Harper going to get it going again, but I think we just had a moment here. Let's take a look. This is Harper coming through the bus stop, and he has to straight line it, and that's how he came to a rest, sitting right there. So we jump back to the live picture. Harper back underway, albeit back in 24th place, so quite a lot of catching up for him to do. An additional off track there. Now this was just a moment ago as well. Let's take a look at this. This is Kyle Rochelle, one of the late Apex Racing drivers, having an issue here as they come into the bus stop. I'm thinking he maybe just straight lines it as well. Indeed, you see the heavy lockup there from Rochelle, and several drivers having to take evasive action, including the aforementioned Jake Christenberry, who's coming back through the field, and Brandon Dunford. And also seeing the out who that was in the U.S. Army machine. But back to it. I believe that's, I want to say that's Ryan Patty, but it is not, because Ryan is there in this machine. Although you see just up in front the two of Cameron Thompson. Thompson's still trying to get into the playoffs, and he's out there racing as hard as he can for Harper Motorsports, but obviously just behind Moody and Mackey. Now having a battle. Actually, that's Martin Boot, who is racing back there at the moment, but this is the battle at the front. We come back to the live picture. Brian Smith in the lead by over a second now over Vincent Arthur, and seemingly having this race already in control. Vincent now doing everything he can to try to catch Brian Smith, who last time by, believe it or not, set a faster lap than he qualified at 1:10.99. I think that's even faster than we saw in the Icon Cup Series race on Sunday. So blistering fast lap from Brian Smith there, and Vincent Arthur no slouch at a 1:11.19. That's certainly a good lap. There you see Smith kind of backing out a little bit. Perhaps he torched those tires a little bit more than he thought he would. But this gap has now come down quite a bit. It was well over a second. Now it's 0.75, so 3/4 of a second now. So just as we were getting ready to say, my goodness, doesn't Brian Smith seem to have this one in control? It looks like he's having to back off of those tires a little bit and let them cool down. Now this was also just a moment ago, Chad Engel having a moment. Let's take a look at this one. Engel, that's who we were trying to pinpoint who that was in the U.S. Army car. They're sliding through the end of the bus stop chicane, and it takes him around. Not how you want to do it there for Chad, and he falls well back in the order. Driver Terryville, Connecticut, puts it back together, but well back into 23rd. So Vincent Arthur looking on to Brian Smith, does not seem to be able to make those inroads. Arthur able to turn in the 1:11 lap times and keep himself in this, but Brian Smith consistently across the board faster. There you can see how the gap has kind of changed over the last 5 laps. It got a little bit shorter there in the last lap, but Brian able to get in another pretty quick lap, 1:11.26. So as these drivers continue to pound it out in front, how about we check in just a little bit further back? This is Brady Motes, who is having a good race. He's up 2 spots so far. He does have Jacob Malone and Ronnie Norman not far back, and I think Adam Kulikowski a little bit further back right now having a moment. Actually, perhaps it happened just a moment ago. We have another driver also having a moment. We'll get to that. This was Kulikowski having an off track, getting it sideways, and this is so easy to do. As you come through turn 1, you slide it out there a little sideways, and it ends up hooking you around, and you get back on the gas. It tries to send you into that inside wall. And here's another incident that happened. I'm going to guess this is something very similar. Now, this is Ryan Patty, Full Send Motorsports. He's one of the, you know, he runs the Icon Cup Series, and here tonight, you would think he'd be a little bit more prepared for tonight's race, but unfortunately, it's just not lining up for him correctly. And Ryan Patty getting sideways there, just bringing it back together. That was kind of scary stuff for Adam Kulikowski. Got to tell you, I mean, if we take a look here on board with Kulikowski, he's not quite sure what to think. He comes through the corner. He's going to find himself very soon taking a look at Ryan Patty. But either way, we bounce back here to the live picture because the front, it's Brian Smith, who has now opened up a sizable margin, well over a second over Vincent Arthur. We're just about to come to the end of stage number 1 And we take a look down through the field. Ronnie Norman falling back 3 positions from where he qualified at the moment, running in 6th place. And then we jump back to Cody Height on YouTube, who's got a mirror filled with Tom Senchek at the moment. There's Senchek, who is not afraid to show a little bit of a bumper to Cody Height. As they come through the corner, Senchek sizing him up now for 7th place on the track. Takes a look down the inside. Not really a great place to try to make a pass. Very difficult spot. Head to the right-hand side of the track. Let it fling out to the left. And I was thinking maybe Senchek would try to have a move on Height here headed into turn 1, but it looks like he's just going to try to size him up and maybe get a run on him down into turn 1 and through the S's. And we'll let that throttle breathe a little bit as we pass underneath the iRacing blimp. And there you can see the picture from the blimp. Here comes Senchek down the inside. He'll make that lunge quite late, but he'll keep it on the track, and that moves Tom Senchek up into the 7th spot, putting Cody Height back. And now we have Jared Wishin involved in an incident. This was out of 3rd place on the track, Wishin. And there you see Josh Curry. There is a yellow that has come out. This is the this was to be the end of the stage. And my goodness me, let's back it up and find out exactly what happened. Now first, I had an off track here for Jared Wishin, but I think that got recovered. And then we had this later incident, and I think maybe that was another off track there. Figure out exactly where this incident ended up occurring. This is later in the lap where the actual crash occurs, and it looks like he's just trying to get down the inside, and that's Josh Curry, who was a lap down. And I'm not sure what Jared Wishin was trying to do exactly there, but Curry, we'll take a look from on board. You can see Curry on the outside of the track. Curry kind of stays towards the outside. Wishin just accelerates, and there's still a car out there on the outside, so kind of Wishin getting involved into that one for no reason, unfortunately. But we'll take a look at how it looked from Curry's point of view. This is coming through the corner. You can see Wishin coming around. Curry stays out pretty wide. Now, I mean, truthfully, I guess Curry, you know, there is no off track in that corner, so Curry could have stayed a little bit further off of the racing surface. But I don't know. It's difficult to say. It's kind of on Wishin to try to make that pass successfully. So with that, we come back to the live picture, and we'll take a reset here. Brian Smith is your leader, but that gap has been erased, and now he is going to come in with everyone else to the pits. This is not unexpected. This is perfect timing, this caution coming out for him and the rest. Wonder if we are going to see anybody try to gamble with a couple of laps of fuel, stay out there. But either way, everybody pretty much coming down into the pits here. Who is going to gamble on no tires? That is a good question. So we watch on, and it looks like Ronnie Norman has a little bit slower of a pit stop. Arthur going to gamble with no tires, and he'll take over the lead. Brady Moats doing the same thing. He'll take over the lead as well. Tom Senchek, no tires. He'll take over 3rd place. Ronnie Norman into 4th, and Brian Smith gets supplanted by 5 cars on the track after taking 4 tires. Cody Height on YouTube back here in 8th place. And he's going to have his work cut out for him, but he took 4 tires as well. So if that strategy works out for Smith to take 4 for height, ought to work as well. So we check over here and see that Nick Geilis has jumped up into 7th position. And I think we could have a word with old Nick. Let's bear with us here as we try to get this done. And there he is. In fact, hey, Nick Geilis, this is Trevor Greenfield up in the VirtualRacing.Network booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, my friend. Well, you had an incident early on, but so far your birthday's working out okay. You're up there in 7th place, and you're got a great-looking new paint scheme. How's it feeling to you out there?
Yeah, it's feeling good. It's been a fun time, and yeah, car feels good. Hopefully, we can translate some of this track position we just gained on pit road into working out for us. But we'll have to see on that regard. But yeah, overall, car feels good, handles well. The incident in the beginning, there wasn't really much where to go, but making up for it and moving forward still.
And there you go. You're still alive. Well, that's the main thing. Now, you're part of 2 different strategies on that round of pit stops. Some people electing to come in, take no tires. Brian Smith, the first of the tire takers out there. You're gambling on no tires. You think that's going to pay off towards the end of the stint? Have you tried to double stint these tires?
Yeah, the Cup Cars tires on road just don't wear like you think they would. So you can really kind of push these tires long in these races, and it just didn't really make sense to take tires from that standpoint. So we'll see what we can do from it. But basically, we're keeping the tires hopefully more warm than those that are coming out on the cold tires. And hopefully that's going to help us out because we might be able to heat some of them up. Obviously, the fresh tires are going to be a little bit of an advantage, but I don't think time-wise we're too far off on the older tires either.
Well, it's going to be exciting. We'll wish you the best of luck. I know you got to get back to the green flag, and we'll hopefully get a chance to catch up with you afterwards. But if not, happy birthday to you, and good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
So that is Nick Geilis, who is doing a bang-up job out there, running currently in the 7th spot, and tried to get him moved back to his room over at Nightmare. There we go. So got him over to where he needs to go. It's a little tricky out here, but I'm not sure. Maybe he was, it's possible he was in a different room. Apologize to Nick if I messed you up and I took you out of the wrong room. Either way, pleasure to have a chance to interview some of these drivers during the middle of the race. And certainly it's been one of those interesting things here in this race where different strategies here playing out. Some of these drivers choosing to take tires, some of them not on this round of pit stops. How is it going to work out? We're about to find out here on VirtualRacing.Network as they line up. We're ready to go again. We're back under the green here at Watkins Glen International. And Vincent Arthur holds on to the lead with Brady Moats and Tom Senchek in 2nd place, racing side by side. Matthew George off the track. We look back and they're still sliding back here. It's Stephen Henning who's now around for Full Send Motorsports. He brings it back on track, but multiple drivers getting caught up in that incident. We'll come back to that here in a minute. Brady Moats into 2nd place. Tom Senchek in 3rd. How about Tom Senchek moving up 20 spots here tonight, finding himself in that 3rd spot. Congratulations to him. He did pit with everyone else under this yellow, so that is legit. And Ronnie Norman sitting back there in 4th place. Nick Geilis up into 5th. So let's take a look here. This was just a moment ago. This was Malone having an issue coming to the green flag. I know we have Matthew George just up in front. There's Malone, slides it through the corner, getting sideways, and he manages to get it going again. And you can see Stephen Henning having an issue as well. So we'll back up and take a look at that as well. He's just kind of hanging out on the inside, hoping nothing goes wrong. It looks like he gets contact, I believe, with the, I believe that was Justin Moody in the 53 that he made contact with. But gets it going again. Not too much harm, not too much foul out there. Vincent Arthur setting the fastest Sector 3 time. He is launched once again to try to take over, to try to take this race win. Of course, we've got to get through the second stage. Second stage is going to be on lap number 24. There will be no caution for that stage, but it will be worth points, and that is what Vincent is out there fighting for. He wants this regular season championship. He's been in the points lead through much of the season, and he would love to claim victory here tonight, and certainly also take the second stage and take all of what goes with that. Looking back here, here's Josh Curry. Curry having another moment. Just like having a lot of difficulty out there tonight. Perhaps machine not responding the way that he wants it to. Back up at the front. Arthur now getting well over a 1 second lead on Brady Motes. Tom Sevchek in third. How about Brian Smith with those fresh tires? He was just able to set the fastest Sector 1 time of the race so far. So are we starting to see those tires turn on for Brian Smith? We're going to watch and find out what kind of times he can turn. Last time was just a 113.35 for Brian Smith compared to 111.10 for Vincent Arthur. So Conover letting me know he should be with Flatline, and he's gotten himself back there, so appreciate you letting me know, Josh. Took him out of some group and then realized I didn't remember where he went to. Usually, got my sidekick, Christian Snyder, up here. We wish him the best of luck with his being under the weather at the moment. Hopefully he can get through that and we'll be able to get back our sidekick, who manages to drag all these people up here and put them back where they need to go. So we appreciate all that he does, of course. Watching on with Brian Smith, though, is he going to be able to do something with this race? He's now got to recover. So this last time, 110.88. You see that purple lap time out there for Brian Smith, and this is starting to get good for the number 17. Who's cranking it up. What's it going to do this time through? 110.99. So that is 2 straight laps in the 110s, and that is speed that I don't think anybody can match out there. You got Vincent Arthur doing a 111.40, Brady Motes 111.38, Tom Senchek 111.88, and Ronnie Norman 111.92. And then you got Brian Smith doing a 110.99. Now, it's not all just about lap times, of course. Gonna have to get by some of these drivers up here, of course. And the first one up on his list is gonna be Ronnie Norman. Ronnie in no quick, anxious desire to give away that spot. Senchek gets a little loose coming off of the corner, and he falls to the back of this order. Brian Smith easily retaking that position. Not sure exactly what took place there for Senchek, but he gets loose coming through the corner, and as a result, Tom Senchek now back into 5th, Brian Smith into 4th. And that does move Ronnie Norman as well up into the third spot in our final podium position. Senchek really loose coming through turn number 1. Brian Smith sizing up Ronnie Norman. So we have a note that Martin Plute has had another incident on track. We're going to stay with this battle, though. Here comes Brian Smith, or does he? He thinks better of trying to make the pass into the bus stop chicane. Oh, and Ronnie Norman just simply blows the exit of the chicane. He felt the pressure, perhaps. And that was all that Brian Smith needed to get by. So that now means Brian Smith takes over the third spot, the final podium spot out there. And he's got about 4.3 seconds to gain to get up there to the front. This lap, by the way, the end of this lap will constitute the end of stage number 2. So Vincent Arthur will get the top spot for this stage. Second will go to Brady Motes. Third for Brian Smith. Fourth, Tom Senchek and Ronnie Norman will secure a couple of points for 5th place. Let's take a look at a couple of other movers and shakers. How about Cody Height for Harper Motorsports right now, up 3 spots from where he started. He's one of those drivers who did also take on tires, but right now he has his mirrors filled with Jovi Ray, who's up 15 positions. Shades of Tom Senchek up there, who's running in 4th. This guy, Jovi Ray, racing for Full Send Motorsports, is flying. Absolutely flying down this track. And speaking of flying, Brian Smith setting the fastest sector 1 time that time. But Jovi Ray right now sitting back in 7th position. Might we see a pass coming up on Cody Height here before too long? Conover saying stage is also at the start of the lap for us, so Vinny won stage 2. Congratulations. As I mentioned there, that order absolutely going to Vincent Arthur, and Jovi Ray really climbing up on the back of Cody Height now. Side by side they go into the bus stop, and it looks like Jovi Ray's going to take that position away from Cody Height on YouTube. So Ray pulls ahead. Congratulations, as he now bags another one. That's 16 for him here tonight. How about a 1:10.80, fastest lap of the race, going to Brian Smith in his quest to chase down Brady Motes and Vincent Arthur. Those 4 tires really starting to pay off now. Is he going to cook those tires? I don't know. Vincent, this last time, a 111.44. And why don't we get the track map up here for you so you can find your favorite driver over there on the right-hand side, be able to tell where they are just by looking at their initials. Hope you're enjoying this out there. We greatly appreciate you joining us over here on YouTube. Feel free to let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting on. If you're not already a subscriber, well, darn it. What do we got to do? Pay you to subscribe? No, just kidding. You want to be a subscriber here on VirtualRacing.Network. Make sure to hit that subscribe and the notification bell. You'll get notified of all the upcoming NORA Cup Series races. Next week it's going to be Daytona, and then it is down to the playoffs. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be some exciting stuff coming up here on the home of the NORA Cup and Truck Series, VirtualRacing.Network. And if you don't mind, also, click on that little like thing as well. It helps to get it out there to more people as well. So Vincent Arthur locks it up a little bit coming through turn 1, but he's holding on, putting in solid 111, mid 111 laps. That was a 111.43 that time. Brady Motes turning in a 1:11.95. But Brian Smith is closing in very quickly. He has cut the overall gap down to Vincent Arthur down to 3.25 seconds. We might be seeing him slowly take the edge out of Brady Motes. This gap coming down in a hurry. Here comes Brian down off the carousel. He'll make these final couple of corners and out to start another lap here. It's been an interesting race of strategy so far here tonight, with Arthur and Motes and Senchek, Norman choosing to not take tires on that caution, but Brian Smith absolutely did, and so did Cody Height back in 7th place. Right now, Brian Smith making it look like it is the right call to have taken those tires, but we'll see how this plays out over the long run. Last time in a 1:11.36, so a little bit slower for Smith. That pace starting to drop off a little bit, but Arthur also dropping a little bit, 1:11.88. So right up on the backside now of Brady Motes for Brian Smith. This is for 2nd place on the racetrack. Also have a note that Kristen Berry has been off and on and now into the pits. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But he's since left pit lane. And here we go, down, start-finish stripe. Motes pulls to the inside, tries to block a little bit. He pulls all the way to the inside. Smith pulls to the outside. He's going to over-under, and goodbye, Brady Motes. He goes well wide. There goes Brian Smith. Defensive line not working for Brady whatsoever. Smith says, thank you very much. I'll take that position. Take one more look at that one, as that was pretty well done by Brian. There you can see Brady on the right-hand side trying to take the defensive line, and easier said than done. Brady going out well wide there with the shallow entry. Brian able to easily take that position, move himself up into 2nd place, and now the race is on. 3.6 seconds, the gap between Vincent Arthur and Brian Smith. Who will be able to do it? That is the question. We wait to find out. We look a little bit further back. And here's a battle that's just starting to get close. Ronnie Norman with Jovi Ray just behind. Norman in that number 33 FanDuel machine. Jovi Ray racing tonight for Tax Slayer number 55 for Full Send Motorsports. And Ray now coming on strong in 16 positions in the bag, perhaps looking to snag that 17th. And they'll use Adam Kulikowski as a pick. Ray, take a look, perhaps on Norman. Well, last time we saw this, Norman not able to hold on through the bus stop. Well, this time he did a much better job of maintaining his composure. That, of course, is the championship leader in front, so if you're somebody like Jovi Ray, you definitely don't want to send it too hard. Certainly, Josh Conover checking in and saying, yes, must be making our regulars nervous, and I agree. Some of these drivers that are crossing over from Icon doing a great job out there. Brian Smith, one of them, but I look forward to a battle between Smith and Arthur. Arthur no slouch at all. He dominated Coda earlier in the season. He's always one of the top drivers, if not the top driver on any of the road courses NORA visits, and he's been able to really have some good performances against the likes of Ryan Bird and others who have made a good effort to try to shake his bell. Unfortunately, last week we were kind of robbed of the showdown between Bird and Arthur at Indianapolis. I think both of them were sad that couldn't happen. And here tonight, Bird not able to make the field. Would have loved to see him challenge the likes of these drivers. But instead, we've got a brand new driver over here, Brian Smith. Again, this guy won in the Icon Cup Series here on VirtualRacing.Network on Sunday night. Just absolutely dominated the race. And of course, you can go back and rewatch it after this one. Great race. But Brian able to easily take victory there and bringing over his hot rod here to run with Brian Powell Motorsports and doing a bang-up job. 23 laps to go. Brian Smith has 3.87 seconds to claw into Vincent Arthur. There you can see it. You can see Vincent up the track, so it's like a blood and water for a shark. Once you can sense it, you start trying to apply it. Now, did promise that we were going to take a look at what happened with Jake Christenberry. This was Christenberry here coming through. That looks like off the carousel there. And then what happens to him here? He gets very loose coming into the final couple of corners, and he drags along that wall and punches the tire wall there on the other side of the sand trap, bringing it back onto the track. So unfortunate stuff there for Christenberry, and then he did bring it into the pits. So very unfortunate for Christenberry, but he does manage to get it back into the pits, and he'll take on repair. And we watch on now to the live picture. Also have a note that Brian Smith, momentary off track, but he does seem to be going just fine once again. Nick Geilis also having a momentary off track. Let's see if we can tell what happened there. It's probably just one of these customary off tracks you get off of this corner here, where you just go a little bit too wide, bring it back on. Indeed, just the case there, as like Geilis did end up giving up that position to Jacob Malone. Came through. And audio getting choppy. Well, we're not doing anything special here, and our software doesn't say there's a particular problem. Usually it says there's drop frames missing or skipped, and it does not say anything on our side, so keep an eye open for that. But I did notice that in our Sunday night broadcast for Icon, it had like a momentary skipping thing, so hopefully we're back now and there's no problem with the audio. But it does look like Tim Harper now making his way back through the field. Back here in 20th position. Harper having those issues earlier and trying to work back through everything now. Taking a look up through the field. Here's Chad Engel, who is -1 position on the day, but of course he had that incident a little bit earlier as well. Just behind him is Dakota Hendrickson, who had to start from 8 positions further back, 26th position, excuse me. And he's managed to make up 8 spots, so he goes quite wide through turn number 1. But perhaps it's because he's, stacking on a quarter pounder and some fries. He's got some other things to do in the cockpit. Can't be too focused on what's in front. Take a look through the field. Here's Justin Moody, down 4 spots. And we have now Vincent Arthur into the pits, as well as Ronnie Norman, Brandon Dunford, Nick Geilis, all choosing to make pit stops on this lap. So Vincent in, Ronnie still just coming into his box right now. And that is going to put Vincent back out there in 8th place. with 20 laps to go. Brian Smith going to take over the lead, but since he came in on lap 15, of course, he is going to have to come in once again. And is kind of, I don't know if this means that Arthur's going to have to do a little bit of fuel saving. So, not really sure, because we were told ahead of time about 19 laps, possibly 20 laps. And anytime it's like, you could do 20 laps, that usually means you got to do a little bit of fuel savings. Well, anyway, Brian Smith choosing to come in on this lap and take on tires. So Smith, this is going to reset everything. We'll look and see where he comes out. But Brady Motes right now out there in the lead. Last lap was a 1:12.03. So I think this undercut strategy is definitely going to be a good one for Vincent Arthur. And as a result, Brian Smith well back of Arthur. As you can see, Arthur there, Smith in the background. 2 second plus gap for Arthur over Brian Smith. And that's as good a news as he could have hoped for after that round of pit stops. Right now, though, this race is on, and we're going to have to see who can turn in the best out laps and in laps and hold the most consistent laps over the course of this last stint. It is going to be a barn burner. You won't want to miss it. Brady Motes is in. Tom Senchek is in out of second place. Cody Height now stopping into the pits out of fourth place. And that is turning over the lead to Joe V. Ray, who apparently is able to somehow save fuel better than anybody else. This guy, he's going to have to pit here, of course, but 21 positions gained for Joe V. Ray. And I'll tell you another interesting thing. 111.83 on the last lap. Now that is something else, because I'm trying to see, my software now is not giving me a pit box time for Joe V. Ray, so I can't tell whether he took more tires on that round of pit stops, but he's got to be light on fuel. He's going to pull it in on this lap. So Jovi's going to be able to take a little bit less time here on pit road, and as a result, I think that is going to possibly net him a top 5. So we'll see whether or not. But here comes Arthur through the final corner here at Watkins Glen International. And the question is, did Brady get blocked from his stall? Did Brady get blocked from his stall? Well, we watch on here. Vincent Arthur still out to a 2-second lead. Brady Motes now going to slide into third, but we can actually go back and we will find that from Brady and see whether or not he got blocked getting into his stall. This was a moment ago. Looks like he's coming down, and no, I don't think he gets blocked from his stall. There's his pit entry right there. So able to get in and get service. It just, when he came into the pits, it looked like he did have a lapper next to him, but I don't think that affected him too much. Able to get down and get into his stall just fine. Vincent Arthur out front by 1.5 seconds. 1.5. That is the gap now between he and Brian Smith. Now on the same tire strategy. Can Vincent survive another 16 laps here tonight and take victory? Or will it be Brian Smith, who on his debut here in the NORA Cup Series is able to not only take pole position, but take over the race victory as well. Will it be Brady Motes? Well, he's now 7.5 seconds back from Brian Smith, so unless those two tangle in their dealings, looks like Brady's going to have his work cut out for him, but he could manage to take podium position here tonight, and that would be a very welcome thing for him this season. Tom Senchek right now up 19 positions in 4th place, and there you can see Jovi Ray just behind in 5th after overcutting the rest of the field and sticking it out there an extra couple of laps, taking a little bit less fuel time on pit road, able to get back out there into that top 5 spot. Ronnie Norman sitting back here in 6th place. He's got Jared Wishin just behind. This position could get very close here very soon as well. We watch to see whether or not Norman is able to hold on that 6th place. I wonder if Wishin is thinking he's going to have a run at him. Remember, Wishin was in the top 3 not that long ago, and he does not have what it takes going into turn number 1. But he's going to size up Ronnie Norman here, possibly through the S's. Norman in danger, in the danger zone at this point. As if I had a sound clip of Archer saying danger zone, but I don't. Those of you out there, Archer fans, you know what I'm talking about. Ronnie Norman hanging on just by the skin of his skinny city teeth. I don't know. Let's try to have fun with it out there. Jared Wishin trying to get it done, coming from about 10th place after that incident earlier. In 7th place, Nick Geilis checking in over on YouTube. That's a terrible way to end the night, indeed. Well, it's Watkins Glen, man. I mean, that's just the way that it rolls. I don't know exactly. Flip up through here, and I don't necessarily see a crash from Nick Geilis, but wasn't an uneventful night for Mr. Geilis. But hey, what's better? Getting out there, getting behind the wheel of the NASCAR Next Gen machine on your birthday, huh? Going out there, challenging the track, challenging the other drivers. It's a great time no matter how you come about it. 14 laps to go. Jared Wishin going to make the move on Ronnie Norman. I'm not sure. It seems to be backing off at this point, but this is where the battle is at the moment. Brian Smith has officially caught Vincent Arthur. Arthur out there turning a 1:11.57. Brian Smith with a 1:11.10. The catch has been made by Brian Smith. Will we see a lunge before very long? Arthur doing everything he can up in front to try to hang on to his Red Bull machine. Driver out of Manchester, Maryland, racing for Flatline Motorsports. He knows that Brian's there. He knows that if he lets Brian Smith go by, he lets a brand new driver just shows up to his first race at the end of the NORA season. He's just going to let this guy win? I don't think so, says Vincent Arthur. He's going to hang on as much as he can. Drivers now trying to duel the fastest laps of this stint at the moment. 1:11.53 for Arthur, 1:11.36 for Brian Smith. Everybody else pretty much in the 1:12s. So we watch on to this battle as Brian Smith can see there is some lap traffic ahead. Will that play a role? Dakota Hendrickson choosing to go off a little bit there. Okay, he gets out of the way. Brian Smith still hanging onto the back bumper of Vincent Arthur. Question is, where is the best place to pass? When is the best time to make your pass? You know, you can just chuck it down the inside of any one of these corners, but when? Oh, and he almost buys the back end of Vincent Arthur as they enter the final corner on the track, and as a result, locks it up. And we also have Ronnie Norman having an issue. This was just a second ago. Jared Wishing getting by. Let's replay this. This is headed up towards the bus stop chicane, and I think Ronnie Norman's going to go off here. Norman just gets sideways and touches the wall, but he brings it back on, and that does allow Wishing to get through. Recovers just fine, but back at the front, now encountering lots of lap traffic. Vincent Arthur in danger at the moment. Here comes Brian Smith. Arthur going to have to work his way under Kyle Rochelle for the late Apex Racing team. Brian Smith able to do the same. Now Arthur with a lot of experience in road course racing here. He's done prototype racing. He's done all kinds of different racing in his iRacing career. He's also involved in real-life motorsports. One of those guys that just loves to be around the sport at all times. Certainly loves to be behind the wheel. But he is not somebody who will shake very easily, and he wants this win. In fact, you know, last week in Indianapolis, he wanted to be there so badly. He wanted to follow up that Michigan win with another win, prove that his, well, let's just say it was a slump in the middle of the season where he just could not buy a win, and he was getting into all kinds of problems that were not his. Arthur would so desperately love to see his name in the W column at the end of this race. The only way he's going to do that is if he can get through another 10 laps in front of Brian Smith, and that may be easier said than done. We've got another big incident further back. This is Stephen Henning sitting sideways on the track there for Full Send Motorsports. We've got another driver, Kulikowski, comes into it. Looks like everything going to straighten out here. Let's go back and take a look. I believe I can't tell exactly when this happened, but we'll take a look here at Henning. Comes through the corner. And I believe perhaps somebody is off in front. There goes Henning. He touches the wall, and he ends up crashing. So that was, in fact, Adam Kulikowski. I wasn't sure, but let's take a look at what happened to Kulikowski as he came through the corner. So Kulikowski, just buys the inside of the entry to the bus stop, and he's now since entered the pit. Back up front, though, no change. Vincent Arthur still in the lead of this one with just 9, very shortly 8 laps to go. That is the good news if you're Arthur. These are relatively short laps, and you only have to survive a very short number of corners, 1 minute, 11 second laps. So it's fairly simple if you're staying in the front to just keep at it, keep your head down. It's not like running Spa or one of those tracks where it'd probably be an over 2 minute lap time for these cars. Imagine these cars in Nordschleife? This be insane. Maybe next season in NORA. We can talk to Josh Conover about that one, but here we go. Vincent Arthur going through the bus stop, 8 laps remaining. Brian Smith heavy on his tail. Maybe only a matter of time, or perhaps Arthur will be able to hold him off. That gap is about a half a second. This is another race that's going on, and just a moment ago, Senchek had gotten much closer, but as they try to get around Kyle Rochelle there for the late Apex Racing team, looks like Senchek has kind of slid back a little bit from Brady Moats in that third spot, so Moats gets to live and fight another day. This one, 7 laps remaining here at Watkins Glen International. You're watching live NORA Cup Series racing action on VirtualRacing.Network. Vincent Arthur has taken over the lead. Brian Smith had pole position, led through a good deal of the opening part of this race, but Arthur took the lead with a strategy call of not taking tires. Brian Smith took tires under the caution. Smith was clearly the faster car, but unable to overcome Vincent Arthur by the time it was time to come in for the next round of pit stops. And as a result, Smith has been behind ever since. A couple of cars going off in front of Smith, making it a little bit easier for Smith to get through the field, but this is the battle right now. Battle for the lead. Soon to be 6 laps remaining with Vincent Arthur in front of Brian Smith. Both of these drivers leaving nothing on the table here. This time a 111.24 for Vincent Arthur. And I tell you what, talk about some consistency out there. Arthur sticking in that 1:11 second bracket this entire race, never really dipping into the 1:12s except for I think 1 lap because of traffic that he ran into. But it has been spectacular stuff from both of these drivers, and Arthur doing everything that he needs to try to stay in the lead here and hold on to this victory. We take a look now, it looks like Kyle Rochelle perhaps having an incident. He's running solo here, and he's going to go down towards turn 1. Just takes it way too deep into the corner, and indeed that is some expensive repair bills from late Apex Racing. 6 laps to go, 5 this time by Barney the Flag Man. Holds his high 5 out there in the air, letting these drivers know you only got 5 more clicks around to fight it out for this top spot. Who is it going to be? Vincent Arthur, Brian Smith. Just about a half a second separating these two now. Brady Moats back here. By the way, that time by a 111.19 for Arthur. Even more. I mean, this is amazing stuff. His best lap was a 111.03, and here he does a 111.19 with it all on the table. So Arthur really cramming in those super consistent low laps, and that is all you could ask for if you are Josh Conover over at Flatline Motorsports, hoping to see this guy take victory. Continue to watch on here. This is not only a fabulous battle happening for first place, but this is the closest battle on the track at the moment. So we do see Brian Smith getting ever so much closer. A 111 flat for Brian that time. A 111.34 for Vincent Arthur. So who will have what it takes to survive 4 more laps around the Watkins Glen Cup circuit? Smith doing everything he can behind the wheel. He's putting in 111 flats. It's basically qualifying laps going down out there, and he closes up into the bus stop chicane. Some awesome stuff coming through here in the NORA Cup Series. Smith right on the back bumper of Arthur as they exit the corner. Are we going to see him send it here? No, he thinks better of it, but he is right there. This is a couple of laps to go. He hit the back end, or came close to hitting the back end of Arthur through this corner, but this time gives a little bit more of a gap. just 3 laps remaining for Arthur to survive this one. Will he be able to? Everything on the line, and we do have a lap car coming up very shortly. It's going to be, I believe, Brandon Dunford up in front. He'd be the next car to go a lap down. Either way, you know, these drivers really trying to navigate these lap traffic as best as they can. Smith right up behind Arthur. And the lap car moves out of the way, so that gives them the ability. Unfortunately, that was Stephen Henning, and Henning has since hit the wall. But Smith now not leaving any room. He looks to the outside, now he holds on the inside. Will Arthur brake a little bit more for this corner as he did earlier? Not so much. Is Smith going to try to send it into turn 1? Just 2 more times around the Watkins Glen circuit for these lead 2 drivers. Headed into turn 1, it looks like Arthur with the solid advantage. Coming off the corner, Smith goes a little bit wide. We do check in back here. We've got another side-by-side battle. This is Cody Height and Jacob Malone. This is for 8th place on the track. They race side-by-side through the corner. Cody Height on the left-hand side, Malone now on the left side. Cody Height in the white and blue. It looks like Malone's going to try again on the other side and not able to do it. Cody Height stays in the lead of that duo for the moment. There's Smith hanging on the back bumper of Arthur. Nothing between these cars at the moment. Brian Powell checking in. BPM looking good. Blake Timmons says, should be a good battle. You bet. This has been excellent all race, and we're down to the showdown. Here we go. 1 lap to go at Watkins Glen International between 2 of the stars here, including Brian Smith in his debut on VirtualRacing.Network for the NORA Cup Series. He won Sunday night in the Icon Cup Series. They head down in through turn 1. Arthur with the advantage. Brian Smith hanging on in 2nd place. He's just fallen back a little bit. It's now 0.4 of a second back. Perhaps he's made a mistake. Or has he? Is this all part of his plan? He's fallen back 0.4, 0.3, 0.2. He gets right up behind Arthur in the bus stop chicane, but he gets it wrong. Coming through the middle of it, and Smith now back to 0.7 of a second back. Arthur just has to survive the end of this lap to take victory. There's a whole bunch of lap cars in front, but will that play a factor? I don't think so. Vincent Arthur, 1 more corner to go to hang on for victory here at Watkins Glen after being challenged for so long by Brian Smith with such great lap times. It's Vincent Arthur who takes victory at Watkins Glen. What a showdown between these 2 drivers, and Brian Smith has already pulled it off the track. Oh my goodness, he was giving it everything he had there. And I think perhaps a little frustration sets in. Of course, we are going to get the final results on the screen here in just a moment. You won't want to miss it. We're going to get a chance to chat with hopefully all of our top 3. Brady Boats coming up behind Vincent Arthur, and perhaps Arthur is out. Is he out of fuel? It appears as though he may be out of fuel. I can't hear anything, and it looks like Moat's going to push him around to the start-finish line, and there is Tom Suncheck to help out both of these drivers as well. What an amazing finish from Vincent Arthur, and let's go ahead and take a look. We'll get the final results up on the screen and go through those with you, but it was something else as we saw Brian Smith give it his all here There you can see it. Vincent Arthur taking the victory here on VirtualRacing.Network. So you got to really catch your breath after a race like that. We see everybody helping everybody else coming to the line. This is something else, but Vincent Arthur doing what it took, hanging on for dear life for sincerely, it seemed like almost half of this race, as Brian Smith was pretty much coming for him. He had to get through a couple of different cars there on the last stage, but Vincent Arthur able to get around and hang on. As a result, Arthur taking victory. Congratulations to him and Flatline Motorsports. If you enjoyed this one out there, hey, make sure to subscribe for lots more great racing action here on VirtualRacing.Network. And like this video, help to spread it out there so more people can see it. Why not? What a heck of a run by Vincent Arthur to get victory. Brian Smith for Brian Powell Motorsports taking second place. I know Brian Powell in attendance, and my goodness me, was that a close one. Sure appreciate you checking in there, Brian Powell. Brian Smith able to take second place. Brady Motes taking third. Ready to Wreck Racing, and another great finish from him. Tom Senchek coming forward a whole bunch of positions and taking fourth. Joe V. Ray for Full Send Motorsports taking fifth position out there tonight. Sixth going to Jared Wishen. Seventh, Ronnie Norman. Eighth, Cody Height. Ninth, Jacob Malone. 10th goes to Matthew George. 11th to Ryan Patty. 12th to Brandon Dunford. 13th, Jacob Gladelich. 14th, Justin Moody. 15th, Chad Engel. 16th, Anthony Mackey. 17th to Timmy Harper. 18th to Jake Christenberry. 19th going to Stephen Henning. 20th, Kyle Rochelle. 21st, Adam Kulikowski. 22nd, Dakota Hendrickson. 23rd, Nick Geilis. 24th, Martin Flute. 25th, Josh Curry. 26th, Cameron Thompson. And finally, I believe Chris Heitz was doing race control out there tonight, so he was not actually part of the field. Wow, what a solid race from these three drivers. And so we're going to see if we can get some of these guys into the booth here, and we'll have a chat with them. I think we're just waiting for Brady Motes to show up, but some of these drivers just finishing up out there. Why don't we take a quick look here. Normally they'll pop in for us, but we'll just move them as we can. Just move them into our booth. Why not? It's time. The show must go on, my friend. Brady Motes, you there, my friend?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, man, you took third place. What an amazing run forward. Congratulations. I mean, you're one of the best road course racers in NORA right now. You gained 3 spots from where you started back in 6th, and solid, consistent finish. Congratulations on third.
We had a pretty good battle back there for third. Me and Tom did. He gave me a little nudge in the carousel, but we had great racing throughout the race with me and him. That last little stint, man, just got that track position and was able to get back up there and just hold on. I appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching this great show. I'm sure it was an awesome battle for the lead up there. I went back and watched it, and that was very, very cool.
Oh man, it was. I was yelling into the mic for about the last 5 laps to 10 laps. It was just insane how close this one was. But of course, you did, as you mentioned, you had a great battle going on with Tom Senchek. It ebbed and flowed. I know Tom, he came forward a whole bunch of positions, 19 positions gained tonight. So shout out to him in top 4 for him. But, he couldn't close down and get you tonight, no matter what he tried. What was it like facing that kind of pressure from Tom out there, and how was it? How did the overall race play out for you tonight?
It was, with those cautions, those definitely were unexpected. I was fully expecting to just run my strategy backwards. just kind of run the shorter stint to start off the race and then run my long stints on the last 2 stints. But I mean, we had those 2 cautions and it kind of threw everything for a whim. And then, I mean, obviously getting that track position, 'cause that's just track position's everything here. I mean, the car is just so hard to pass now with these cars, and just the dirty air, especially the entire Sector 1. Like, it's just so hard to pass through the S's and everything else and just stay close, like even relevant to make a pass going to the bus stop. But, I mean, it was a great night. It was fun. Had some good battles all throughout the field, all throughout the night.
And it looked like there was no real issues with setups or track temperature or anything like that. Did you find any issues with that, or did you have any issues with lap traffic out there, or was it pretty clean sailing for you?
Pretty clean sailing. I mean, it's just the track temp being so low, it's hard to warm up the tires with this tire model and the tires being so hard. It's just, I guess the compound or whatever, or just iRacing not putting the mesh on the tire, like Vincent was saying earlier. That could be it, from what, like, doesn't let the tire warm up and get broken to face, or you actually have grip. But like for the first 2 laps, it's like ice cubes around there, and some of these better car control guys like Vincent and Brian can just kind of, I'm sure, roll around and handle a lot better under those cold tire, like under those first 2 laps, and that's where they kind of like build their big old gap to start off, you know. Because all of us are back there struggling. But track temp helped a lot, especially later on the end when the rubber started getting laid down the racetrack. And I mean, it just helped build up and help make the track a lot faster. I was running PBs every single lap for like the last 8 laps. So I mean, it was kind of crazy how fast the track got, but all around fun.
Yeah, and it looked like you were having fun out there. It looked like a lot of these guys were having fun hanging it out. Yeah, definitely tonight was a lot of fun watching you, Brady, but that makes 2 races in a row in podium position in road courses, so definitely you are one of the guys to watch coming into the playoffs as far as the road courses go. But certainly next week is not going to be a road course. We've got Daytona coming up. Now, some of these guys, part of the bigger teams, and I know you know a lot of those guys personally, but is it going to be tougher for you? Not necessarily having the big team to work with at a drafting track like Daytona, or do you think you got it figured out?
Man, I've made plenty of friends around here that love the way I race on restrictor plates. We kind of all agree, you know, in the way we race and how we go about things. So I usually find myself working with different manufacturers all throughout the field, because, I mean, especially like me and Josh, I know we kind of have a little bit more of the same mindset, except for like at the beginning of the year. I know definitely this race I'm at the same mindset he does, just trying to ride and wait for the win. I'm sure Vincent and all them probably fighting for stage points, but I believe like I'm still now mathematically out on points. So I'll just try to get my first win of the season next week, and probably just ride around and wait for the big wreck to happen, and hoping it does happen. While I watch all these guys fight over stage points, and just wait it out till 10 to go, and then make my move from there.
Should be a lot of fun, and we wish you luck with that. Who'd you like to thank for tonight's run to 3rd?
Just Harpoon Design, always ride with me every weekend, and being on the thumbnail. Appreciate that, Trevor, put me on the thumbnail. But yeah, Harpoon Design riding with me, always making these cool schemes. Made mine and Josh's scheme very last second for Icon on Sunday, so that was pretty cool. 98 exteriors, I work in hauling, family business, appreciate it. My fiance for letting me do this on Sunday and Tuesday is a big ask, you know, 2 nights, but I appreciate that. And then Josh putting on the league, and Nick, I mean, like I said, Josh just being there for me all the time, showing me the little ropes. Vincent really helping me out too, kind of helping me get to this point where I can sit on the podium at road courses. And also, big thank you to you, Trevor. I know Chris is not here tonight, but y'all are awesome up there in the booth, man. It makes it fun to go back and watch, and makes it very interesting for all that audience out there, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, you continue to make it interesting as well for us week in, week out. Give our audiences something to root on. Definitely doing your best over at Ready to Wreck Racing, and you've not been wrecking. So you may be ready to wreck, but you're also ready to take podium positions. Good luck next week at Daytona, my friend.
I appreciate it, Trevor.
So that is Brady Moats taking 3rd place, 2 straight podiums in a row on road courses, now becoming one of the road course ringers, experts, I don't know what you want to call them. But certainly a guy to put your circle around should it come road course time. And Blake Timmons checking in saying Brady is trash, get him off the track. Brady's a sketchy pusher. So having some fun with his friend Brady Motes. We'll see all these guys next week, of course, at Daytona. But we've got another couple of drivers to talk to. Let's see if we can get Mr. Brian Smith here into the booth. And it was one heck of a run, Brian. We talked to you on Sunday night. You stole victory there, my friend. And now here tonight, I mean, you took pole position. You had the lead in the opening stint. What happened at that point? You decided to take tires. You came through the field. Was that still the right call, or do you feel like maybe you didn't want to take tires on that caution?
It was obviously the wrong call, and I mean, I kind of had a feeling it would be, but at that point in the race, I figured, the last stop was going to be fuel only. I figured there'd be more yellows, and I knew tires didn't really mean hardly anything, and it was just more of an experiment, and it ended up being a great race, so I had a lot of fun.
Man, it looked like so much fun, and you seem to have the edge lap times wise. Did you feel like you did have something for Vincent if you could get up there? I mean, did you use up your tires maybe a little bit too much once you finally got to him? What was the difference maker as far as with getting up there to Vincent once you managed to catch him?
It's just so hard to pass in these cars. I felt like I was doing really good in the bus stop, and I think he was doing a better job up the hill. And it was just nearly impossible to make anything happen without contact. And I wasn't about to move a series regular. I'm just making a guest drive here tonight, and I wasn't about to cause problems and do anything crazy. So if I was going to be able to pass him, it was going to be clean. And he did a great job. He didn't make any mistakes, and he was really fast. So it was a great battle at the end, though. I had a lot of fun.
Well, we certainly enjoyed watching it, and once again, it was like 10 or 15 straight laps of you pouring in fast lap times. You got down into the 110s, lower than qualifying times. It was like it was insane to watch some of these low fast times, and of course, you and Arthur trading back and forth. I mean, in the end, though, isn't that, like you said, you had a lot of fun? Isn't that really why you saddle up and why you strap in for a night of racing, is just to get into it and have a great run for potentially winning the race?
Absolutely. That's why I wanted to run this tonight. I had a couple guys tell me there was a league on Tuesdays running, guys that run in the Sunday night league, and I absolutely love racing Watkins Glen. I love the Next Gen on the road course, and it lived up to my expectations. I had a blast, and shades of Marcus Ambrose and Brad Keselowski back in whatever that was, 2011 or something. It kind of had that vibe to it. It was so much fun, just pushing everything I had, for a good 15-lap run. And I think we were separated by less than a second for that whole run, too. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, and of course, quite a few of your other friends from the Sunday League, being Icon, which we broadcast here on VirtualRacing.Network, being Jovi Ray, of course, Ryan Patty coming over, a number of others coming over to check out the NORA Cup Series, and I'm sure you're more than welcome. I'm sure Brian Powell, who checked in over on YouTube and said, Brian Powell Motorsports looking good, I'm sure he'll have a seat warmed up for you should you want to come over in the future. You think it's possible to see you on more Tuesdays?
Oh, absolutely. I think I actually already sent a few messages back and forth with Brian, and he said, great job. Thanks, Brian, for letting me join the team for the evening, and I'm sure there's going to be some more appearances later on in the season. We'll see how it goes.
Well, besides Brian, who would you like to thank for your run to second tonight?
I'd say Vincent. Vincent and I raced really hard, really clean. Like I said, I think I've said it 3 times, just fun. And I mean, that's why I get on here. Like you said, it's what it's all about. I had a blast. So thanks, Vincent. That was a good race, man. Rest of the field, from what I could tell, everyone was doing a great job. And thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. So yeah, it was a good night.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And of course, we'll see you Sunday night at Daytona in the Icon Cup Series, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you back here for more of the NORA Cup action. Congratulations, taking pole position, second place here in the race in your debut in the NORA Cup Series.
Awesome, thanks. Have a good one.
My pleasure. So that is Brian Smith who raced tonight for Brian Powell Motorsports. He's already had some great message exchanges with the owner over there, Brian Powell, who's got to feel great about seeing his car up there in second place. And with that, it does give us a chance to check in with the man of the hour. And boy, he was angry he couldn't make it to Indianapolis last week. But this week, he was able to not only make the race, but Vincent, I mean, you weren't in control until you came to that caution, and then you made the call that made all the difference by not taking tires. Take us through that decision.
I mean, it's one of the oldest sayings, use your mistakes to learn. And if you don't learn from your mistakes, what are you doing? So this is the exact same thing that happened at Sonoma, just roles reversed this time. So I made sure that I wasn't gonna lose a race based off of tires. It was actually pretty ironic because I was mad that first yellow came out because I felt like I was actually on pace. I was starting to close the gap a little bit, and we were about to get the pit stop, so it would have been really interesting to see how everything played out. But that actually turned out to be the move that won the race, I think, in the end. But yeah, no, just I didn't want to be back in traffic. I figured track position, I could at least run my pace and get my tires into a window where they were comfortable and pull away. But yeah, just hanging on there because that third stint, my tires were gone. I felt like yelling at Bono over the radio. My tires were gone, and just trying to do everything I could to hold him back. Just being fast where it mattered and getting runs where he would getting runs to the corners where he was faster. So yeah, just game of chess, and I'm exhausted.
Well, man, we've had you up here in the booth as a commentator. We've certainly seen you go through a rough patch in the regular part of the season, but it's got to feel great. 2 of the last 3 races in the W column for Vincent Arthur, and last week you definitely were possible to get a podium, if not a win, certainly because you weren't able to be here for that race due to the weather situation. I mean, you're back on top, and that's the other great news is how good does it feel? Not only do you take the W, but you're going to be back in the regular season points lead for the NORA Cup Series.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it's really reassuring, especially because the past couple weeks, in practice, I haven't been the outright fastest. I think today I was sitting like 7th on the timing boards, and it's really assuring to myself that I have what it takes to win. I might not be the outright fastest guy each and every week, but if I keep my head on me, I'm able to run a good race and close these deals out. And so it gives me assurance that, okay, I'm not running, P1 during practice, but it's just that's practice. This is the race. So it gives me a lot of confidence, and it's really nice to know that I have the points lead. Hopefully whatever my lead is will hold out because I won't be at Daytona because I'm seeing Guns N' Roses. So
Sweet.
yeah, so it's like I don't want to miss Daytona, but Guns N' Roses, who wouldn't go see them? So
right.
yeah, so hopefully, but at the end of the day, I'll still get a pretty good amount of decent playoff points for even finishing second if that's what it comes down to. But getting reassurance, like you said, past the 2 of the last 3 weeks, I've been able to close these deals out, and today especially, that was probably the hardest I've had to concentrate, and I felt like he caught me with like 16 laps to go, and I was really, really close on fuel, and so having to manage that and then manage him on my bumper that entire run, I mean, I don't know, it reminded me of the 2018 Watkins Glen race with Elliott and Truex, but it's just, I don't know. I'm really tired. This race took a lot out of me. I'm very surprised in myself that I was able to do it, but this whole thing's a mental deal, and I was able to stay strong tonight, and I proved to myself that I can keep this going forward.
Well, it was a fabulous ability to stay focused and stay in the game, stay in the zone. We watched another driver earlier on get some pressure from behind and kind of lose it through the bus stop, but tonight you had to hold tight even with those challenges coming. from Brian Smith, and you seeing him turning in the 110 lap times that he did out there on the track. I'll let you go. I won't make you answer that many more questions. Sounds like
Oh no, I'll give my shout outs. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Who do you want to thank for tonight, and what do you have to look forward to here to this next week at Daytona?
Well, I gotta thank Brian for racing me clean. I thought a couple times he was gonna send me, and he was super clean and respectful about it. So I really appreciate that. Finally got one for Red Bull. I mean, I feel like I've been running this scheme all freaking season, and I've just had terrible luck in it. And finally able to come out here in the matte black Red Bull scheme and win for them. So really stoked about that. Thank you to Pepsi, Exalta, Chevrolet, Josh Conover, everybody at Flatline. Look out for Josh next week. He's the best pusher in the game, and hopefully he finishes out the regular season strong, especially for the owners. Thanks to everybody at Flatline. Thank you for putting on the broadcast. We'll take it to Daytona. Hopefully it's a very entertaining race, and then I'll see you boys in the playoffs.
All right. Well, that is an amazing end to your regular season, since we won't see you next week, but it's got to make you feel good heading into the playoffs, and good luck with the rest of your season, Vincent. I know we'll have a lot of great races like this yet to come, my friend, so good luck.
Thanks, Trevor. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Vincent Arthur, Flatline Motorsports, who did an absolutely bang-up job out there tonight. What more could be said about the way that he managed to hold everybody at bay, just to come home there at the end, with everybody pushing him, and then able to do some donuts on the very end of this one. But it was spectacular to watch. This is exactly why we tune in here at Watkins Glen. You love to see a battle like this. Brian Smith, what an amazing debut here in the NORA Cup Series. We look forward to seeing much more racing out of him. Brady Motes manages to put another one in the books that he's got to feel very proud about, and certainly shows him being one of the road course masters here in the NORA Cup Series. And also big shout out to Tom Senchek, bringing it forward 19 positions. Jovi Ray, 17 positions. The first time we've seen Jared Wishon in a very long time here in the NORA Cup Series. He brings it home 6th. Ronnie Norman survives to a top 10. But of course, the man of the hour was Vincent Arthur. He adds another win to the record. It seemed like not that long ago we were wondering, when's he going to get that next win? Well, now he's had 2 of the last 3 races. He gets to take a week off, go see a concert, and hopefully stay healthy, come back for the playoffs. So with that, we're going to close this one out here. We appreciate everybody joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. Always great to be joined by all of you folks out there in YouTube land. And if you're not already, as I keep saying, you got to be a subscriber to chat in the YouTube chat, but also tick that notification bell. Then you get notified of all of our upcoming races. What's our next one, you ask? Well, the Icon Cup Series headed to Daytona. And if there's one thing I know about this Icon Cup Series, they are not afraid to make passes and basically challenge everybody. It doesn't matter whether you start at the back or the front. You'll want to be here for that Sunday night right here on VirtualRacing.Network. And we should have Christian Snyder back in the booth, I believe, on Sunday night. And then also you'll want to be here for next week at Daytona for the NORA Cup Series. It will be a barn burner with all of the teams participating. So on behalf of myself, Trevor Greenfield, and all of the administration and the competitors here in the NORA Cup Series, thanks so much once again for joining us on VirtualRacing.Network. This has been live iRacing on VirtualRacing.Network, and we'll see you again next time on Sunday night for the Icon Cup Series right here. Till then, have a wonderful rest of your week, everybody, and take care. So long.